बहुत शुक्रिया जी। असल टाइम है कि असा सेव करना क्योंकि मैं भी गल गुफ्तगू कट करना ताकि असा टाइम तुसा ना सेव हो जाए। हूँ अगले मुकर्रर जी जनाब असा ने MP बैरिस्टर अयूब साहब असा इन्हें गुजारिश करसा इन्हें असल पूरा जाना सी इन्हें आख्या कि पहले मैं अपनी आज ताड़ियां नाल इस्तेमाल कर तो बैरिस्टर अयूब साहब।
Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Brothers, and sisters at the back, distinguished guests, honourable members from both houses in Parliament, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I think it's a fair point to say that in the 1930s to the 1970s, our forefathers from South Asia came to this country and they contributed an enormous amount of their blood and sweat to help Britain through its infrastructure rebuilding. And through that, they had a vision that they would earn through their hard labor and return back predominantly to the region that we know as Azad Kashmir, an area that I was born in, a village called Rata. But that vision was not meant to be, because they remained in the United Kingdom. They had their families and they had children. Now we're talking about our fourth and fifth generation in this country. We are enormous contributors to the British economy, hundreds of billions of pounds, and we create jobs and opportunities. In fact, we work in all of the key sectors, whether it's in hospital, whether it's in the legal profession, whether it's in entrepreneurship, I'm forgetting that word now, it's tongue getting dry to entrepreneurials. But we contribute enormously to the British society. And can I say that when you have right-wing media and GMB News attack members of Parliament, it's not because they are right, it's because they seek to cause division. And we must make this absolutely plain at the outset. And I'm not blaming the parliamentarians which signed that document. I would have been a signatory to it if someone had managed to make contact with me during that time period. And unfortunately that didn't happen. It's to make it absolutely plain that as parliamentarians we are not asking the British taxpayer to pay anything. This has nothing to do with British taxpayers. So when the right-wing media and those that seek to undermine, they are using a false narrative. And there's nothing new in that, because we know what they have ran in the past, whether it's in relation to the people that stand up for human rights, for Palestine in Kashmir, whether it's to do with grooming gangs. It's a narrative that is done in order to sow division. And we must prevent that from happening. And one of the ways that we achieve that is to make sure that the moment a false narrative is arisen, that we address it immediately. And we fail to do that as parliamentarians. And I spoke to Tahir Ali, Member of Parliament, and I said to him that one of the things that we must make sure is that that false narrative doesn't catch air. Because when that catches air, it runs around all communities and it causes divisions. And that's what the narrative was. In Birmingham, you've got a bin crisis. Rubbish on every street. And that was repeated in Parliament, and yet the parliamentarians for Birmingham are talking about the airport. And the reason why they said that was because it wasn't made clear and plain that we are not asking anyone in this country to pay for that airport. Now, as MPs, of course, we represent our electorate. That's our obligation, our responsibility. And we do it with passion. We're not frightened of what others may say. If there's a demand from our community, then it's our job to raise it in Parliament. Whether it's in relation to the Afro-Caribbean community and the Windrush issues, we raise it in Parliament. Whether it's to do with our British Bangladeshis and their turmoil, we raise it in Parliament. Whether it's in relation to the WASPI women, predominantly white, we raise it in Parliament. whether it's to do with child benefit, whether it's to do with winter fuel allowance. That is our responsibility as MPs, to raise issues on behalf of the communities that we serve. And just like that, if the communities that we serve are demanding an airport in Kashmir, then it is our responsibility to speak to parliamentarians in Pakistan and in Azad Kashmir, because we have this symbiotic relationship that we work with other ambassadors from all nations when an issue is raised. And that is what we seek to do. That doesn't mean that we will be, as British parliamentarians, able to achieve anything in Pakistan or in Azad Kashmir. But what we can do is communicate and exert that influence on other parliamentarians in Pakistan, in Azad Kashmir, to say this is a demand. It's a demand that is justified. In Azad Kashmir, people are so neglected. We have no real infrastructure. Roads and electricity is considered something unique for those that have political influence. The average person does not have that. When we think about hospitals, you go to Dadial, and what do they say? If they can't treat you, you need to go to Islamabad. And that is a disgrace when you think about it. 1.5 million Azad Kashmiri British citizens. And yet, when we look at our facilities, we simply haven't even got an an emergency hospital in that region. And that is the neglect which the Pakistani government needs to focus on. Because ultimately they contribute whatever we get in terms of our funding. Former Councillor Ansel raised the issue of hospitals, raised the issue of universities. These are all fundamental rights. If you want to have parity amongst communities, then you must treat each community with equality. We have no transport system, it was mentioned here before. You know, why not? Why are we being neglected in that region? And these are fundamental issues that we can raise, and I'm confident that there's unity amongst all political parties. Although I'm an independent, you can be rest assured that where there is common ground, I will always raise my voice to support our communities on the ground. So I'm not going to say much more, because I'm sure you've been waiting here a very long time, and as you can imagine, parliamentarians have a lot of commitments, but this was such an important commitment that I thought it was worthwhile me coming here just to express my solidarity with the Kashmiri community of which I am from. That is my motherland. And somebody mentioned on Twitter, and they said, you know, they're always in social media, they'll attack you. And they said, well, why don't you go back? I said, look, that is my motherland. I was born there. And I'm proud that I was born there. But this is my homeland. This is my homeland. This is where I was given all the opportunities to be where I am today.